They have a very sneaky way of watching us. And unfortunately, there is no real solution to it. These agents you see can map out the floor plan of your home. They can see where you are and what you are doing at the moment. And they don't need a camera to do it. They do this using Wi-Fi signals that are literally everywhere around us. The only way to block it is to turn off your modem completely when you are not using it and stay away from areas that have Wi-Fi signals. In the modern age, I don't know how that's possible. Another option could be to carry a jammer in your pocket, but that's illegal because it would crash entire systems. You could, for example, cause a plane crash. Also, jammers are extremely easy to detect. Or maybe you could only use the internet inside a room lined with aluminium. That would work if we ignore your neighbor's modems. So how does this actually work? Let me explain how they watch us through Wi-Fi signals. Think about bats. How do they fly in the dark? The answer: sound signals. Bats emit the sound, and based on how those sounds bounce off objects, they create a map of their surroundings and fly as if it were bright daylight. Radars work on a similar principle, but instead of sound, they use radio waves. Modems are a kind of radar. Using radio waves, they can detect where walls are, see behind those walls, and locate devices, people, and objects. They can even detect your breathing rhythm and your heartbeat. According to MIT's experiments, this includes hand gestures, arm movements, whether someone is sitting, walking, or lying down, with 99.5% accuracy. And using AI, they can reconstruct an image from all that data. Even a hidden camera inside your home wouldn't give such clear results. A camera only shows the area it's pointed at, but a modem can see everything inside its coverage area. Why? Because radio waves don't really own light. They can pass through objects, and by measuring an object weakens the signal. The modem can tell something is there. With detailed frequency analysis, you can even figure out what that object looks like. And with today's technology, it goes far beyond simply saying there is an object here. Since I am talking about modems, you might think only your internet service provider or people authorized by them could do this. But unfortunately, the situation is much darker. Officially, they might say it's not publicly available, but you can easily find the software on GitHub. It's MIT licensed open source and you can install it with a single command. The hardware costs just a $9. Just a $9 ESP32 module. And they don't even need your Wi-Fi password. Anyone within range with just 30 minutes of training data and a few programs. Using AI, they can even reconstruct your image and make it eerily realistic. I'm not talking about big corporations or intelligence agencies constantly watching us. This is far more dangerous. It could be someone who wants to hurt you, an obsessive stalker, or just a curious neighbor. Because this system is so simple that almost anyone could figure it out. This technology was deliberately brought to us. Their excuse? To improve stream quality. They claim it helps detect where devices and people are so that signals can be directed more efficiently. So it became an industry standard. And today, there is no legal responsibility for any of this. That makes it even darker. They started violating our universal rights a long time ago. Of course, this only applies to newer modems. 10 years ago, none of this existed. On this channel, in this series, I have been explaining for months how governments and corporations watch us. They keep finding new ways, and they will keep finding them. Why is this the darkest one? Because there is no solution. And because it is accessible to anyone. Like I said at the beginning, There is no realistic way to stop this. But if you live far from civilization, or if you could somehow convince everyone in your area to do the same, the most realistic method is what's called a Faraday cage. Have one room where everyone uses the internet and line that room with aluminum foil. Keep the modem inside that room. Also, when you are not using mobile phones, carry them in an aluminum lined bag. Now, whether you will get a good feeling when someone calls you, I don't know. That way the signal won't leak outside. But someone who wants to spy on you could just turn on their own Wi-Fi and still do it. Maybe the only real solution is something radical like covering your entire house aluminum foil. Even if you did that during construction, you couldn't have any windows. So in short, there is no realistic way to prevent this. Normally I planned to make this video 2 weeks ago, but I hesitated because I couldn't offer a solution. To prevent them from identifying you, you could avoid connecting to every Wi-Fi network you see and pray they aren't doing this through your own modem. But if they already know who lives in the house, it's not hard to guess who the radar is detecting. So the only thing I see is this: there is no realistic solution. I'm Mert Tamtürk. Even if we are defenseless, we have right to know. That's why I am telling you this.